modern political history, the Democratic Convention in Chicago in '68 is really the start of kind of protest movements that we see today.
The police were pushing the group I was in through the windows and coming into the hotel in the glass and beating us. Outside, somebody shouted, "The whole world is watching, the whole world is watching." That became the chant as people were tear gassed and beaten and taken away to jail.
The power of television beaming those images, creating a spectacle that overshadowed the convention itself, is what made the convention to become much more organized, carefully created and produced and controlled. It became an event more akin to the Olympic Games or the Super Bowl, with the idea being, of course, safety, but also avoiding having the story be what's happening outside the arena instead of inside the arena. That's why you see today these so-called free speech zones, where there is protest and there is dissent expressed at the conventions, but it's done in a controlled area that is closely guarded by law enforcement. In 2004, during the Iraq War, there were large protests down some of the largest avenues in Manhattan.
I protested at the 2004 Republican National Convention. It was a massive demonstration. National media and global media covered it, but none of that coverage came out in real time. So if you weren't there, you couldn't really get a sense of what happened. It was very quickly broken up. There were a large number of arrests, which later resulted in a class action lawsuit that the protesters actually won, because it was illegal to beat them and arrest them.
It makes him wrong.
What makes this year different, leading up to the two conventions, is what we've seen so far during this campaign.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Unprecedented amount of protest and violence at Trump events has some people concerned about what's going to take place in Cleveland.
You won't tolerate violence of any kind. It's your right to voice your opinion, and we even allow people to march in the streets. But if it becomes a safety issue, then we'll have to do what law enforcement does and keeping everybody safe.
Does anyone have a towel?
The convention center will actually be in what's called a security zone, under the control of the Secret Service, with admission only with credentials. But the city assured us that people in Progressive Field would be able to see and hear the marchers.
And certainly in Philadelphia, too, Bernie Sanders has a cadre of supporters on the left who are not happy that he lost the nomination. Taking that and also the general protest movement aligned with the left, it's a recipe for a sizable protest as well.
Protesters will be allowed to stand on FDR Park. Now that may sound to you like they're going to be right across the street, but it's a 9-lane highway with a median with trees in it. So you see, it's not a lot of visibility.
I think that the frustration that people have are the same, but things have changed a lot. And now, if you're at a protest, you see, hundreds of thousands of images being shared. So the whole world is watching. That's very exciting.